Morning, Bob. Isn't that bad? Actually, it'll almost be better if I didn't put the piano in there. It'd just be bass and drums. More common to have a blues band without a piano player. Oops. Let's see now. Hey, Joshua. Take my name. Okay. My name is Joshua. All right, turning that off. There we go. Let's see. What do we have? So I'm going to kind of continue on this. I don't know. I want to do a lesson on you know, and I probably, Joshua, you're saying the same thing over and over again. I want to, and I probably could have done this before because the Mixolydian scales are 7-note scales. I could have done a kind of a lesson of the 3 pentatonic scales for blues. I may do that too at some point. I don't think I want, I don't think I want to take this lesson to every position. We've spent a lot of time on this lesson, and I don't know that I want to spend that much time, you know, on each position of this. But the idea is, if you can play over, you know, G Mixolydian here and here and here and here, and C Mixolydian here, 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 and D Mixolydian in all those positions, you're going to be able to just flow back and forth between the different Mixolydian scales, which have a certain quality over the blues progression. Without even thinking, you'll be able to just kind of flow. And then, of course, you got all the other keys to do. But once you start to see the things and the shapes, and you get some, you know, you get some motor memory going, changing to other keys isn't really much of a problem. What an E flat, whatever, or A flat. But what I may do, maybe I'll do it Monday, is I'll do it Wednesday, is the three different pentatonic shapes that we'll work on for the blues. And basically what there'll be is pentatonic number 1 for the G. Okay. And then what I like to call the happy blues scale, or the happy pentatonic, happy minor pentatonic, and that's the one B.B. King used a lot, which would be to take that F and take it down to E. And that works great over G, but it really works good over the C chord. Because when you play the C chord and you play that F over it, you get this kind of dissonance here between the F and the E. The F of the scale and the E of the chord. So it creates a little bit of a like, there's a better note there. And sure enough, the better note is right here. I don't ever, on the 4 chord, I don't know why, but it just does not want to work, okay? I do not just play C minor pentatonic. Okay, now you know you can make C minor, you got A minor or G minor pentatonic right here. You know you can make C minor pentatonic just by moving your hand up to the 8th fret, and you can play the minor pentatonic that we all know and love. You can play that, and that would be C minor pentatonic. But you can also play it right here using pentatonic shape number 4. No, number 4. Okay, but even though that E flat is the same relationship to the E that the B flat is to the B over the G chord, in the context of the key of G, if I was in the key of C, sure, I would use that. But in the context of the key of G, that E flat never really feels settled to me. It's always, I'd rather just use pure G minor pentatonic over that C chord than use a C minor pentatonic, okay? Keeping in mind we're using the G minor pentatonic over the G7 chord. But what I'm saying is when we're in the key of G in the 4 chord of C, the C minor pentatonic doesn't work as well. So the minor pentatonic over the 4 chord doesn't work as well. However, the minor pentatonic over the 5 chord works fine. It's crazy, right? So pentatonic number 3, which is the one we kind of hate, but it's there, for D would be right here. And this is what I may talk about. I don't have any diagrams for it, so I'm talking about it now. But let me just give you an example. I should have done the diagrams. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about it until just now. Like, oh, I'm a bad man. I'm sorry. Steve Martin. Can I get a blues spot? So I'll play the, see, there's the G minor pentatonic. Here's the C minor. It just doesn't work. But Stevie Ray Vaughan used the D pentatonic. And that was the C, that was the pentatonic, the G pentatonic with the 6 instead of the 7. And so that works really good. Yeah. So we'll talk about that maybe on Wednesday. And I think it's, the thing is, like I said, I should have probably done that before this because that was less bytes, smaller bytes. It would have been 3 5-note scales instead of 3 7-note scales. So I apologize for not doing it in that order, but it didn't even occur to me. And I kind of felt like we talked about it when we talked about the blues. I remember doing it when we were doing open. If you go back to the basics of blues or blues basics, we were using the key of E, right? And we did that shape, and then we did this shape over the A chord, and then we did this shape over the B chord on the top 2 strings. And that was exactly what I'm talking about. It's those 3 different pentatonic shapes. And keeping in mind, the pentatonic scale that we're using over the G chord in this case was G minor pentatonic, and then over the D it was D minor pentatonic. So we had 2 minor pentatonics, and then we had one, I guess you call it a happy pentatonic or something like that, where you get rid of that 7th. But anyway, okay. So problems with your computer. Uh-oh. Oh, hey, sorry about that, Bruce. Oh, I got an email the other day. I got from somebody that was asking about, where was that? These things get, okay, I gotta see. I'm gonna create a, from Craig, was this from Craig, Mark Cragen. I'm going to open the Discord. We're going to create a link. He says for some reason the links, he clicks on them, they don't work. So I'm going to send him a set to never expire copy. Okay, I'm going to, all right. Okay. Oops. All right. So I got that. I copied that. Let me put this in here. Sorry, I got emails. There's a Discord link too. So if you haven't been a part of the Discord, looks like everybody here. I recognize everybody. Let me say some. Let's see some shout outs here. Let's see, Bob. I saw you and Dennis. Guten Morgen. I know that's not your language. I forget how to say good morning in Dutch. Jim Horst. AJ, good to see AJ. Jim, good to see you too. Joshua, I don't know if you're still there. Ed, Leo, Bob, I saw you. See Charlie B. We got a lot of the regulars here, but not many people right now. Holly's here. Good morning. John, you're here. Mr. Benny on stage. Where's my band? I like the video. Thank you, Mr. Benny. Let's see. Dennis, Bruce. Oh, Darren. Darren's here too. Awesome. Good to see you. Oh, Whitsen. I missed that. Hey, Whitsen. How you doing? So, I want to just kind of continue some of this, work on these scales. One thing we could do is we can play. Let's play the start of the G major scale, the G Mixolydian. Sorry, not G major, G Mixolydian. That, okay. And that's 8 notes. It's a 7-note scale, but when you get full octave, that includes the octave, so that makes it a total of 8 notes. So if we were playing a tempo like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we played 8th notes, it would sound like this: 3, 4. Right? If we swung it, okay, which a lot of blues is swung, Texas shuffles, things like that. Chicago blues, all the blues tend to have a slight shuffle or a lot of shuffle. If you have an Apple computer, you could, it comes with GarageBand. You could open up GarageBand, open up the drummer, and then mess with the swing on it. And if it's at 50%, that means no swing. That would be like machine-like. If you put it at like 55%, it might be or whatever. I'm not good at the percentage. If you put it at like 67%, or 75, I forget what it is, but I think you can adjust in GarageBand the swing amount. That would be like dotted 8s in the 16th. Swing is in there, but you can practice. You can even set it up so if you want to do like a click and then set it to swing, you can practice playing notes with the click. So you can kind of get a feel for different swings. I heard someone say that if you want to practice swinging, to put the click on 2 and 4 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. And that makes it, I don't know if it makes it easier or if it makes it more ingrained once you get it down. But that's, I love YouTube. I like your handle says Mr. Benham said. Okay, so we got that little snippet. Let's play that together. Second finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. Okay. I feel like I've lost my sense of taste, which tells me something. Just doesn't taste like anything. So I don't know. Weird. But our keyboard player and bass player got COVID at church, and so they weren't there last weekend. And they're fine. They just tested positive because, well, I mean, Michiko's got is battling cancer, and she has to go in for treatment. And they do a test on her, and she tested positive, and then he tested positive. So, yeah, I know. I got to get my sense of taste back. I have Moroccan subscriber adding you. Oh, nice. Okay, so let's play this scale. Second finger on the 3rd fret and pinky on the 5th fret. First finger on the 2nd fret. 3rd fret with the 2nd finger and 5th fret with the pinky. And then do the same thing on the next string. 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th. Okay, and that's a G Mixolydian scale. It's just a G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No sharps, no flats. Okay, ready? Let's do it. 1. Do it slowly. We'll do it on the quarter notes. 2, 3, 4. That fast, that's great. John is asking me, do you think GarageBand is good enough for most recording purposes? For an amateur, of course, I think GarageBand is fine. The crazy thing is that Logic is only $200 and $199, which is insane because when I first bought it, I paid $500, and that was getting a discount from a friend that worked at Apple. I got a friend's discount or a family discount or something like that. He just got it for me. So it was $1,000 software, and I was really kind of worried when they took it to a $200 software that A, a lot of people were going to start doing more recording and I'd have a lot more competition, and B, the quality would go down. But neither of those things has really happened. Can you send me money to pay from PayPal? If you want to. You can also send money through here, but you're right. YouTube takes, Google takes 30% of anything you send. So if you send $10, I get $7. I don't even know what's my PayPal handle? I forget. I think it's just, let's see, more scan. No, cancel. You know what? I did the wrong thing. I went to the wrong button. Oh, you know what? I have it in invoices because some people do pay me PayPal. There we go. Oh, yeah, PayPal is just my email account, which I don't want to put up there if I don't have to, because I just don't want to get spammed. Can I send you a private message? 100. It's a, yeah, in Moroccan money. You know what's funny, Mr. Benny? I was watching a Rick Steves video. If you don't know who Rick Steves is, he writes travel books, and kind of travel books for the thrifty. We always, whenever we go to Europe, we always buy his book because we're not rich and I don't mind doing a nice dinner, a couple nice dinners. Oh, thanks, Bob. I don't mind doing a couple nice dinners and staying at maybe a nice hotel, that kind of thing. But, if there's ways to do things on the cheap, if you can get some tips, like for one is, like with in Paris, you want to buy like the museum pass. Instead of paying for each museum and each church individually, you can buy a pass that gets you into everything for 3 or 7 or 10 days or whatever. And that was the kind of recommendation you get. And it's maybe some, especially, good local restaurants that the locals go to, that kind of stuff. And Rick Steves is great at that. We were watching a video on Andalusia, which is the south region of Spain that flamenco music came from. And he went to Gibraltar as part of that. And just a hop skip, like just a short boat ride from Gibraltar is Morocco. And I thought, baby, if we go, we should definitely try to go to Morocco, like just for a day. It would be kind of cool. So, guys, send money to Tom. Come on. Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, I would love to go to Andalusia. Let's see, where are we? Here we go. Okay. And then, so what I want to do is that scale. Sorry, I'm getting my windows organized here. Okay. That scale, we just did that whole shape. Okay, again, that's movable. Here's A flat mixolydian. Here's A mixolydian. Here's B flat mixolydian. And I love the feel of that scale because it's got that redundancy right there, right? And a lot of pinky action. That's going to give you a good pinky workout. Yes, Tangiers is directly out. Yeah. So if we go, I'll let you know. So, and then if you take everything down one string, that's the C mixolydian right there. Okay, and so anyone who's just joining us, I don't know if there's anybody new, but we're starting to get up there in the 22. It dropped. Okay, but anyway, the three scales over here are the Mixolydian scales. And when you play in the key, when you're playing blues, you basically have 3 chords. I mean, you can have more chords than that. We may do a lesson on some other, like jazzier chord progressions, or I think it was Holly that wanted some blues turnarounds, and we could totally do that. But the two. So there's a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord. And so it's in the key of G, that would be G, C, or G7, C7, and D7. And a good scale to play over a 7th chord is a Mixolydian scale. All 4 notes of the 7th chord are in a Mixolydian scale, plus 3 more. So you have a total of 7 notes, gives you a lot of options. And so the first scale up in the corner there is the G Mixolydian scale, and the red notes are G's, so you can see where all the roots are. And a lot, I like to know where the roots are on a scale so that if you're playing over a G chord, and you want to make it sound like you know what you're doing, you end on a root. Okay? I ended all those phrases on G's. But if you do that with every phrase, if you end on the root of the chord on every phrase, it's going to sound a little like it's going to get a little boring after a while. So you want to end on some weirder notes like the 7th or the 3rd or the 5th or the 6th or, anything to create maybe a little bit of tension, because I always say, music is all about tension and resolve, or tension and release. And so the other chord is C7, and so a C Mixolydian scale works great over C7, and a D Mixolydian scale works great over C7. And so the reason there's a lot of white notes in the C and the D is because in this position there are only 2 C notes, here and here. So I only wanted to I wanted you to be able to play the scale from root to root and not be too confused by all the other notes. And the other notes are all, if we went one more note, I could have put a red note there. We could have gone, if I'd made a longer grid, we could have slid up and gotten that. So I could have had 2 octaves of C Mixolydian. But within this position, you really only have 1 pure octave of C Mixolydian. Same thing with D Mixolydian. There's a D here and a D here. With G, there were 3 Gs in this position. So we could do 2 octaves of G. Okay. Most of you already know that. And that's kind of my thinking behind the white notes and the red notes and the black notes. All right. Over here are the scales written out by note. And I did that so you can see the subtle change, and especially if you look at the difference between G Mixolydian and C Mixolydian, and the first one's G Mixolydian, the second one's C Mixolydian. There's only 1 note difference. G has a B in it, and C has a B flat in it. And the same thing if you compare G Mixolydian with D Mixolydian, the only difference is that G Mixolydian has an F in it, and D Mixolydian has an F sharp in it. So those are the only two differences between those two scales. But you'll notice that between the C Mixolydian and the D Mixolydian, there's two differences. D Mixolydian has a B, and C Mixolydian has a B flat, and D Mixolydian has a F sharp, but C Mixolydian has an F. So when we play that, in fact, you can really see that all of those note changes played out in what I call the snippet. And the snippet is the 6 notes that are in the middle of the fretboard for all 3 of these scales. And that would be, and the outside notes here, the 2nd, 5th, 2nd, 5th are all the same. Okay, notice that all 3 of those scales have these same notes. They have an E, a G, an A, and a C. But in the middle there, the G Mixolydian scale has these 2 notes. Okay, the C Mixolydian scale has these 2 notes at the 3rd fret, and the D Mixolydian scale has the two notes at the 4th fret. So, you know, we were playing in these previous lessons, we were just kind of messing around there. And that would be one great exercise to do, is just to kind of, you can just play it back and forth like this. And then when you hear it go to C, change that note to accommodate that change. And then when it goes back to G, you just take that B flat and go back to B. And then when it goes to F, the D chord, you go to that F sharp instead of the F. But ultimately, you could play this the whole time. The 2, 5, 2, 5. The outside notes in that snippet. I'm going to use an air quote so we can all take a sip. A snippet sip. A sippet. And so the great thing about that little snippet is you can see the change in motion or in action, or, you know, visually. If you're a visual learner, that's a really good way to see it. And that kind of thing happens elsewhere on the fretboard. In fact, if we go up 2 strings and 3 frets, we have the exact same. In fact, maybe we'll do that today. We'll work on that a little bit. Okay, and then technically we could go here, down here. Okay, but if you take this up an octave, that would up here, and if you're on acoustic, that would be very difficult. But if you to go down an octave from this, you go down 2 strings and 2 frets, and you get the same, which is the same as this, but a much woodier sound. I always talk about that, how one of the great things about guitar is all the different timbres you can get by moving your hand around the fretboard. Sounds very different to me than this, right? Okay, because the strings are shorter and they're fatter, so they just have. Also, I'm messing around with this. I use this pick a lot when I'm soloing because it's thinner, which I don't like. I don't feel like I can play as fast with it because it's thinner. But I don't play with the tip of the pick. I use the edge of the pick because it's got these bumps on it. And this is the same pick that the edge, speaking of edge, the edge for U2 uses. And it allows you to get the scratchy sound. I don't know if you can hear it through the. But if you got one, of these, you could, and any pick that has a lot of bumps on it or something like that can kind of create that sound. Once I started playing with it, though, and I remember I told you the story about how I came to play with this, that kid that hired me play on his record, and the producer was amazed that I let him tell me what to play, like what instrument, what guitar, use his everything. And but if you got one, you'd notice that you would hear the difference between a smooth pick and a bumpy pick. And it kind of, you'd go, wait a minute. All of a sudden you hear some song from the 70s, and you hear a guitar riff or something. You go, wait, he's scratching the strings. He's like using the pick to scratch the strings. I notice it a lot more now that I started playing with it. I never noticed it before, and it was always like, oh, how did they get that sound? I could never figure out how the Edge got his sound. I always thought he had some kind of micro distortion on his guitar, but it wasn't. It was actually scraping the strings. It's crazy. And on a clean tone, you can really hear this. I've got a gainy tone, so it's a little bit... But it just does kind of give it a little bit more bite, I feel. I mean, there's some great guitar players, amazing, and even fast guitar players that use thin picks, which blows me away because a long time ago when I was a kid, I started using heavy picks because I wanted to be like the fastest guitar player in the world, which for like a week and a half I was. So I got a fan. Benny's my cheerleader. Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah, and so this pick is it's a oh, who's the company's? It says Nylon West Virginia. There's I think I have it in my. Oops! Oh, I just lost it. It just went sliding under my keyboard. There it is. Funny. I like flicked it with my finger accidentally. And I think even these Dunlop picks, you know, what they're intended for is for grip. The idea is, oh, you'll be less likely to drop a pick if you have this bumpy stuff on there, and that may be true. You know, but then some players started playing with that side of the pick to get that tone, especially if you got a clean sound. It's like, whoa, like a really loud clean sound with that. It sounds really cool. I like it. So that's why I started using my main pick for years and years and years was these Dunlop Derlins, these 1.5s, and then I've got a gravity pick at the NAMM show, and it had this rough edge around the whole thing, and it kind of created that. Not quite as drastic as the West Germany pick, the Edge pick, but it still has that thing, and it's a little bit bigger. It's a little easier to hold on to than the purple one. So. Oh, hey. Oh, let me repost that so it's down here. If you want the Discord, the Discord is set up. Every diagram or paper that I create, I scan the papers and I post them there. So if you go to Tom's Bookmarks, you can see all the paperwork for all the lessons. And any diagrams that I create, I upload there, and you can download those and put them into a Word file and print that up if you want. Also, Bruce is doing a cigar box guitar built for me, and he's posting pictures of his progress on that, which is really cool of him to do that. And then, okay, yeah, Derlin. Derlin. That sounds familiar. I'm not sure, but that's So I don't know what these are probably about 85s. These are probably about, let's see, what is it? No, this is thicker than this. This Dunlop is an 88. It feels almost identical to the Dunlop 88. So I would say these are probably about 85. When I kind of compare them, and I have to look over my glasses because my eyes are really bad, but this still looks thicker. But when I bend them with my finger, they feel almost identical. So maybe the composite may change, but... Okay, so we can take this shape and we can move it up here. So let's do that. Let's take that shape that the snippet, and we're going to knock it up an octave. So we're going to be for G Mixolydian. We're going to be, and let's just do the outside notes to start. Okay, all right. The outside notes are 5 8 5 8, like the top of the pentatonic number 1 scale. Right? When we did A minor pentatonic, it's the same. It's the same exact 4 notes. Now, all 4 of those notes are in all 3 of these scales. Or these. Same thing. Okay? A, I'm sorry, E, G, A, C. So if you look through the scales, E, G, A, C, E, G, A, C, E, G, A, C. Yeah, they're all there. So technically, for the blues and G, I could just sit there. It would sound kind of weird because there's a lot of sus notes in there. Yeah, E, G, A, C. Okay, but the two notes that we'll have for G Mixolydian are these two right here, the F and the B. So the 6th fret and the 7th fret, which just happen to be the guide tones of the G7 chord. And remember, the guide tones of any 7th chord are the 3rd and the 7th of the chord. And we did in the first lesson, we can play the whole blues progression just using these two notes, moving them around. That's a G7, C7, and here's a D7. We have all 3 chords just with 2 fingers just on the 2 middle strings. We can do that here too. Okay? And those chords, those little dyads, you can call them dyads. A triad would be 3 notes, a dyad could be 2 notes. 7th chords are 4 notes. Okay? 7th chords are 1, 3, 5, and 7. That's a total of 4 notes. So you could call it quadrad. I've never heard it called that, but you could, I suppose. Scribbles notes. Yeah, Holly, sorry. Oh. Take a sip. A celebratory sip. There won't be a quiz on this. Starbucks just upped their price for coffee up another 20 cents. So I'm kind of like thinking about getting a coffee machine and making it myself. I just don't know if it's any cheaper. You know, by the time I get the filters, the coffee machine, buy coffee and have, and then you got to make sure you always have coffee on hand, and then you always have half and half, and then you got to, I got sweet and low. But anyway, so the 2 notes that we're going to need to finish these 4 notes out for the G Mixolydian are here. For C, there's these 2 notes. Okay, the F and the B flat. There's our B flat right there. Okay, I'm not flipping you off. Okay, for the D, it's these 2 notes, F sharp and B. So here you can see the difference between C Mixolydian and D Mixolydian. Very easy. Here are the finish out notes for C Mixolydian right here, and here are the finish out notes for D Mixolydian. I've never used the term finish out notes before, but you know what I mean, right? There's the commonality between the 4 scales. I mean the 3 scales. Here's the G Mixolydian, C Mixolydian, and then D Mixolydian. And you can really hear the differences between the scales in that little context, in that little snippet. I still love saying snippet. Yeah, I should make my own coffee. The other thing, though, going to Starbucks gets me out of the house. It's about 2,500 steps round trip. It's not many steps, but it kind of gets me out of the house. Gets my steps started for the day. Get some fresh air and all that. So I kind of don't mind doing it. I don't mind paying for it. But I also I wouldn't mind having the smell of coffee in the house when I wake up. That would be nice. You can set the timers to do it right before you wake up. So that would be kind of cool. And it could save money, but I also might end up drinking more coffee, which could be a bad thing. I don't know. Yeah, Holly, I know. I remember when we used to go to summers in Pentwater, Michigan, and the closest Starbucks was like over an hour. It was in Muskegon, and so I'm not driving an hour to go to a Starbucks. That's just one way. It's just I'm not a coffee snob, so. A lot of my friends are like, "Oh, Starbucks is the worst coffee." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't care." In fact, I went to Pete's the other day and it tasted like mud to me. It didn't taste good at all. And it was twice as expensive. So I was like, "Nah." but but they actually put a Starbucks in Ludington, Michigan one summer. One year it showed up, and that was great because we were always in Ludington because that's where all the grocery stores were. So it was like a 30-minute drive. So I would go up there, not every day, but it was a 30-minute drive. So, you're talking about, an hour out of your time, just out of your vacation day at the beach to go get a coffee. This is not cool. So I would buy a bunch of the bottled Frappuccinos, and those would be fine. Those would keep the headaches from coming. Because if I go off to Starbucks for like 2 days, I start getting headaches. Because they put some crack in here or something that makes you addicted, and if you don't get it, you're going to get a headache. So anyway, so I would drive, pretty far. That was the most I ever drove on a consistent basis. But that Starbucks closed like 2 years later, because Starbucks, it was then 2009 hit and everybody was cutting back, and so Starbucks closed 600 stores, and that was one of the 600. And I was like, dang it! And they opened 3 more that I could walk to. Literally in Pasadena from our apartment, I could walk to 12 Starbucks. In one 2-week period, I walked to a different Starbucks every day for 12 days, and just to see if I could do it. And some of them were pretty long walks. By the time I got to the Starbucks, I was like, I need a water and a coffee. So, yeah, I could get a cappuccino machine. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, all right. So let's play the snippet, the G Mixolydian snippet. We're going to be at all this is at the 5th fret. So 1st finger, 2nd finger, 4th finger, 1st, 3rd, 4th. And then backwards, 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1. And the guide tone is here for the G, okay? So, so I may say at some point play guide tones, and that'll go there, okay? All right, for the C Mixolydian, it's 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. And the guide tones are here. Okay? You see that? We had that little piece there. There's the guide tones. So the G guide tones are here, G7. C7 guide tones are here. Okay, let's play the D Mixolydian snippet. That's going to be again at the 5th fret. We haven't moved. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1. Exactly, Mr. Benny. Yep. And then for G, it was 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. Now, I don't generally like to use numbers, but I'd rather use note names, but that's okay. The number thing it helps you get it under your fingers. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do some loops of this jam here. Okay. So if I do the first bar, this is just the G, and I got rid of the keyboard, the piano. So I'm going to put the piano back in case you can't hear that low note. Okay? Because some of you are maybe using laptops or iPads, and the low range isn't always there. Sometimes I put the bass too low, and people say, I don't hear a bass note. So anyway, here's that. There's your root. Now, for the G and the C Mixolydian, we'll have access to the root, but the D snippet will not have a D in it. It's the only note it doesn't have. Hey, Silver. Okay, so play this with me. We're going to just stay in that G Mixolydian snippet. And so again, all I've done is taken these notes here and gone up an octave. So up 3 frets and up 2 strings, and you get the octave. Exactly the same shape. So anything we do here, we can move right down to here. We could also play in open position down on the bottom 2 strings, or play here, or here, or here. So that's cool that anything that you kind of develop in here that you like, you can use elsewhere on the fretboard. Okay. Let's play that's ending on the 7th there. It's E, F, E, F, E, F. F was my GPA average in high school. Okay, you got that? Holly likes it when I do this. She likes learning little licks like this. Okay, now we're going to slide that up to a G after we finish here. Now it sounds a little more resolved, less tension. And it's okay to use your second finger because you don't need to be pure positional. If you know that this is the lick you're going to do, use the fingers that make it feel the best. And I want to go elsewhere, but I'm sticking with this shape here for now. Okay. Okay. Last time. Okay, now we're going to get a little weirder. I'm going to do this. Okay, so I'm going E, F, and then to the B. And if you want to leave the F ringing, it creates even more tension. But that's the guide tones for the G7 chord, the E and the B and the F. See that? Okay, so play the guide tones and make it musical. So how do we make it musical? Well, we make it musical by what I just did right there. You can do it by playing an interesting rhythm. I'm doing a very swingy rhythm there. The other thing you can do is maybe use these two fingers instead, slide into it. And then resolving on that G note right there. Or you could go, how many times have you heard that in the blues context? You let them both ring out like that, or and then maybe resolve it to the note. Everybody always asks me, how do you do the pinch harmonics? Whenever I do that, somebody new will say, how do you do that? Again, pinch harmonics are created by picking the string off of the pick and choke down on the pick. Like you just expose very, very little of the pick and then let that string hit the pick and then the flesh of your thumb. And you just have to experiment with it. And every beginner that tries to do this, it's like they try 1,000 times and it doesn't work. And then it works once and they're like, wait, what did I do? And they can't make it happen again for another 500 times. And then you just cut it down eventually. Yeah, I got 84,000 subs, I know. But yeah, you can make even two notes, like I said, be musical. We can separate them. I can separate them and let them ring. Like that. Or I can play them individually so they don't ring out, like short notes. Okay. So even with just a few notes to choose from, you got a lot of options. Okay, let's do these two notes. Again, I'm in the snippet, the G snippet, which is 5th fret, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. So we're going to go to the 3, 4, but I don't need to play it with my 3, 4. Okay, that's C, that's B. So that's the 3rd of the G7 chord. And I'm going to C, which is the sus4. If I just play this, right? Tension, release. sus4, 3. sus4. Hey, Flint, Michigan. I've been to Flint, Michigan. once. So you can do the C, B, G. Okay, so what I did was we're jamming over one chord right now. Okay, let's change to the 4 chord. Here we go. Boom. Okay, tired of hearing that, but we're gonna have the 4 chord. I'm gonna keep the piano in again just in case the bass. You can't hear the bass. Okay. Now the snippet we're gonna do is we're going to take that B natural that was in the G7, or the G Mixolydian, and we're going to take it down to B flat to accommodate the change between the G Mixolydian, which is a scale, the top scale right here, and the next scale, C Mixolydian, which has a B flat in it. So that's the only difference between those 2 scales. And this is the 4 chord in the key of, in the G blues. So we're going to go at the 5th fret, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. So now our snippet is redundant or symmetrical. It's not really technically symmetrical, but now I may take you a little out of the scale or I may add a tone. Don't hate me. But as I'm creating licks for us to play, that may happen. So, okay. Don't hate me. Hey, we have 45 viewers. That's awesome. Okay. So, remember the 3/4 thing we were doing over G? Here it is in C. Watch, I'll play this F here. It's going to create tension that wants to go down to that E, which is the E is the 3rd of the C7 chord. Don't worry, there's no quiz on this. You don't have to understand everything I'm saying, but I say it enough that eventually it starts to sink through. That's how I learn. I hear something a billion times and it gets through my skull. Okay, listen to this. Right? That's too high. You can sing along if you want. That helps connect your head to your hand. You can have 3 snippets today, Dennis. We can even bend it. Now, I'm out of position. I'm using different fingers. I could bend that with my first, but it's not confident. I want to dig it, you know. Now, you might want to go to the C note. Well, the C note's down here, or whatever, but we can go to the high one. That's a C note, so that's the root. This is a C chord. Okay, it's a C chord. So there's our root with the pinky, right? Play that. F, E, F, E, C, F, E, F, C, F, E. Kind of cool. Okay, let's do we'll do the guide tone, okay? Because that's in there. Remember, the guide tones are in there, the tritone. So that would be E and B flat, 5th fret and 6th fret. Sliding that B flat up to the C because it's the root, so it kind of sounds more resolved if you do it. You don't want to end every lick on the root note because then it just sounds boring after a while. The 7th is a great note to end on. See that? I can go up to the C and come down to the 7th and end a phrase on the 7th, and then it's like, oh, cool, you're like ending on a little bit of tension. Watch. I screwed up. seventh and then tap the root at the end of the fret, just for a second, and right before I'm out. So check it out, something like this. See, I hammered on that root at the last second. So you do give them that resolution. You give them that thing that they want, that they don't know they want. Thank you, promo. Okay. So, let me. Oh, okay. Wait, we got some more here. Let's go here. G. There's the fifth. That's the root. The fifth of the C chord. Play that. So that's 5, 6, flat 7, 6, 5. Don't worry about no quiz. G, A, B flat, A, G. I'm just saying these things so you might learn them. G, A, B flat, A, G, D, G. And you go up to the root. And again, remember, music's about tension and release. One way to create tension is to play nothing. Right? It's like a pregnant pause in a conversation. It's basically what you're doing. You're having a one-way conversation with the audience. And you put a pregnant pause in there, and it creates a little tension. It's resolved as soon as you start playing. Right there, boom. The audience is like, oh, okay, he's going to play. But here... Let's play that lick, okay? So that's 5, 5, 6, flat 7, 6, 5, 6, flat 7, 6, root. Now I don't forget anything because guitar is my enemy, so I remember everything about my enemy. I'm very unforgiving. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you. Could we have done it in G? Not really. Okay, I'm going to show you. We're going to leave the scale a little bit, but this is very fun. It's chromatic. Chromatic means one fret. Okay? Let's do that. So it's second string, fifth fret, first finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? C, E, F, F sharp, G. Okay, and that's the melody for Blue Monk, I believe. So if we were playing Blue Monk in C by Thelonious Monk, then it would go to the 4 chord. But that's a great little snippet. Now you don't want to. Well, you can sit on that F sharp because it's the flat 5, which creates some tension, obviously. But more likely, it's also the flat 5. Well, it's the flat 5 that you can take to the 4. When you do that, it's the blues note in the C minor pentatonic. Okay, but we're not really talking about minor pentatonics right now. Okay, now I'm going to show you a cool lick. We'll do this a few more times. Alright? And then descending. So what I'm doing is I'm going chromatically from the 3rd of the chord to the 5th. And if you just go up here, you can go from the 5th to the flat 7. And that's also another nice little... Anytime you've got two notes that are a minor third apart like this, you can use the chromatic. The chromatic thing works really good. So, in most contexts. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, down. One more time. Descending. Okay, now put your pinky on the C note. Here. cool. Finger it any way you have to. I can go like this. It's very Mixolydian. That's kind of Mixolydian, but it's Mixolydian with that E in there, the major. So if I were to play C minor blues, I wouldn't have an E, I'd have an E flat. So having the major third in there is a very Mixolydian thing. When you play the major tone of any chord in a blues context, it definitely kind of has that Mixolydian vibe. So no quiz on that. Don't worry, Charlie. Okay. All right, so let me stop this killing us drone chord here. Where's the 5 chord? Here's a 5 chord. Because we're gonna do the next thing we're gonna do is do the D chord. It's been an hour already. I can't believe it. Going fast. And we got 43 on. That's awesome. I'm so glad. So glad you're here. And again, if you're an hour in now, the ads would have stopped. But so. This video, as soon as I hit end stream, it takes about, I don't know how long. I've never really ever timed it. I think it takes like 12 hours for YouTube to process. Probably because they tend to be like 2 hours long. So it does take a while to process. And when they're done processing it, the video shows up with 20 or 30 ads in the first hour, which is an ad every 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm not placing them there. I am monetizing. As soon as I get around to it and think about it, I got to log on to my YouTube creator account, open up the video, click on monetization, and then click on the, it's a few steps. It literally doesn't take me more than a minute to do everything. I just have to remember to do it. But I delete all of the ads, and then I insert one every 30 minutes. Because I figure you don't mind getting an ad every 30 minutes. And generally, I'm done teaching within the first hour, and then we're just shooting the breeze. So I get a lot of, I don't get a lot of comments to the negative, like shut up. I mean, I can't shut up because I gotta carry this. It's not like we can have a two-way discussion. I gotta carry this for an hour or two. But they're like, get to the point, and I get that. We stop saying squirrel, but it's very true. I get distracted very easily, and I like to answer questions, especially as soon as I can. Bruce is really good. Dennis and Bruce are really good. They're my moderators, and they're really good at making making me aware of the different questions that are up there if I've missed them. Finland. Hey, Ville Ina. Oh, first time live. Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm good. I'm very happy to see you. I would love to go to Finland someday. Oh my gosh. I have a very dangerous follow on Instagram called Magical Places to Travel. Oh my goodness. Check it out sometime. It's just one, magical, all one places to travel, all one word like that. And, they just parse photographs of different photographers. They don't travel all over the world taking pictures. They grab pictures from other people, And oftentimes there's a picture up there and it's like, oh my gosh, where is that? And it says Finland. I'm like, oh, dang. And Iceland is another one of those. It's like, I got to go to Iceland. So many of my friends, their favorite place in the world is Iceland. Now, I'm not an adventure traveler. I like going to cities and eating at pretty good restaurants and being around museums and stuff like that, going to old churches. I love that. Hey, Chinyuri. Oh, no, man, I'm happy to help. You guys You guys are helping me more than I'm helping you just because you're giving me someone to talk to during the lockdowns. We're still in lockdown in California for the most part. And I don't know that once we get to, with the new administration is talking about national mask mandate, which I think is hilarious. If I lived in the remote regions and by myself in Montana, I think I'd be like, yeah, make me. But at one point the governor in California tweeted out, and I think he took it down, but he said about wearing a mask in the house, and I'm like, what? And wear a mask and take it off between bites at a restaurant? Like, wear your mask between bites at a restaurant? I'm just like, not going to happen. So Malta has many great churches. Oh, that's good to know. I've been to Notre Dame, and Saint-Chapelle is amazing in Paris. Oh my gosh. And I would love to go to, there's another amazing church southwest of Paris, I think it is. A friend of mine is a big composer, and he's had his choral pieces performed there. Jack Redford, really good composer. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we'll see. And in fact, I own Pfizer stock, but Pfizer only went up about $2 or $3. So I always own. And in fact, I think I own very little Pfizer. I think I actually sold Pfizer as one of the stocks I sold to buy the house, and it just happened to sell it at the same time that I was getting a distribution. So I ended up with some shares. But I always like to have some random different pharmaceutical companies in my portfolio and sometimes baby farms, because they're always working on the next thing, right? And if you get lucky, and I never buy penny stocks in the pharmaceutical, but if you get lucky with a pharmaceutical company that scores big, I did happen to do that, and usually what happens is they get bought out. But I think I made 300% of my money on one company that I bought that developed the nasal flu vaccine. So the flu shot that was like a nasal spray or something like that, they developed that, and then they got bought by Merck, I think it was, for 3 or 4 times what I paid for it. So that was cool. I knew they were developing this nasal vaccine, and so it was one of those things where I just took a chance on it, and it wasn't very expensive. The stock wasn't. So. Okay, you like my sound, Rock? It's or D-Rock or Dr. Rock. Sorry, Dr. Rock. I am using. I'm in Logic. I'm going direct. I'm going into an API. In fact, I've got it turned down. That may be why it's not so gainy, which I kind of like. This is. Yeah, I like it better with it turned down. So I'm going into an API and into. In fact, I did a video recently about my signal path, but the software I'm using right now is just Amplitude, and it's a Marshall amp. I don't know if there's reverb. There's very little delay, which you can't hear. I think it's a dotted eighth or something. But I mean, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's a Marshall amp. It's a little bit on the bright side and a little on the gainy side settings that I created, and I saved it. And this setting that I saved is called G&L Blues. So this is my G&L, my only G&L guitar now, and it's for blues. So that I use it mostly in this context of playing with the live stream stuff. So. And then my interface is an Apogee Duet. So it's just 2 channels. That's all I ever need. I never record drums. I never record orchestras or anything like that. It's always one guitar at a time. So I don't really need anything more than 2 tracks. And Apogee converters are among the best. And we're getting up there, 54 current viewers. That's awesome. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with the lesson. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you're supposed to be a guitar teacher. Why are you talking so much? If you're a regular, you know. But we're going to do this. Now we're going to do the snippet, and it's not written up here, but it's down an octave. So the D Mixolydian snippet that we're going to do, and I'm going to loop the D7 chord over and over again, is here. Here's the snippet in the original position up there. Okay, this scale right here where it says D Mixolydian. And we're using just the middle two strings, and it's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, or first finger, third finger, fourth finger, first finger, third finger, fourth finger. And if you're new, go ahead and pop into the live chat and say hi. Bruce is kind enough often to welcome you, and he also will. You can look up, you can see, and I'm going to post the. Do I still have the? Here's the Discord link. So if you want to join the Discord site, that's an an invitation to the Discord thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this snippet up an octave, because we've already been working in this position in the last few videos. So we're going to take it up an octave. The nice thing about playing higher up the neck when you're soloing is that it cuts through better. The bass is down there, the drums are kind of down there, and if you play too low, you're going to kind of get in that muddy region where everybody else is. So the higher you play, the more likely you're going to be heard. That's why somebody playing up there, because they want to get heard. So that snippet up here at the 5th fret on the top two strings is at the 5th fret, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. Okay? 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1. Who wrote that out before? Chatty snippets. Okay, whatever. Somebody wrote those out. Was up here. Where was that? No. Oh, there it is. Oh, Mr. Benny, you wrote it out before with the C1. So, okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play on Logic, and we're going to jam over this. Oh wait, I'm going to grab the different bar because that's got the drum fill, and I don't want to listen to that drum fill 1,000 times. Nope. Oh, that is it. That's a D7 chord. Okay. So we can start out with the 4-3-4-3 thing. Right? And notice that I moved my hand position. You could say, oh, well, that's not proper. You got to use the proper. No, you don't have to use the proper fingers. You use whatever fingers feel the best for that lick that you're doing. Okay. If I'm going for just playing the scale fast, yeah, I'm going to use the correct fingering. But if I'm only going to play these two notes, G, F sharp. Okay. If I'm going to play those two notes, I can play them with my pinky and third finger. Can't even make them stick out. I can play them with these two fingers, but they're not the most confident fingers. I could use these two fingers. You'll have a lot more fun playing them with those two fingers than you will with these two. Now, I'm going to make you move back down when we do something, but for now, we're going to play those two notes with these two fingers. So go ahead and play along with me. Let it ring. Wiggle it. When you vibrate, when you do a vibrato, it helps the string keep ringing. And everybody has a different vibrato, different speeds, different depths. It's kind of like a fingerprint. And it also makes it sound more like a human voice. Not my human voice. Okay, now let's go do it with that third finger and bend it. Third finger is a nice, strong finger to bend with. I just had dinner with a surgeon last night and his wife, Beth and I. we had a couple over, and they say at the hospital nobody wears masks except when people are around. So they don't do anything. It's just in the hospital. So and they've never had COVID. He's in surgery all the time, but they have friends. They know people that have had it twice. So you can, I originally I was saying if it's a virus, you can't get it twice, but if it mutates, of course you can get it again. So yeah, there's that. So there's that to look forward to. And like right now, I was just telling you, I was exposed to it a couple weeks ago, and I'm wondering, do I have it? Because it doesn't taste like anything. So I'm wondering, oh, great, I have COVID. So, but anyway, I'm fine. And my friends that have it, they have no symptoms, but they just tested because they were going to the hospital for something and they had to get tested, and sure enough, they had it. It's like, dang it. Oh, that's interesting, Benny, Mr. Benny. So let's see here. We're gonna keep doing this. So you see the two different ways I approach that, right? That the same exact lick. One is with fingers, playing each note. The other one, like Holly, I think it was you that was asking about hammer-ons versus plucking every note. So it sounds, I'm plucking every note there, right? There's a certain immediacy with every note, but if I hammer on or pull off, it's a different feel. Here we go. So I'm only plucking it once. Okay, so let's play the E, the third, the F sharp, the G, and the F sharp. So it sounds like this. So now we are going to use the correct fingering for now. So that's 1, 3, 5. Sorry, 1, 3, 4, 3. Or E, F sharp, G, F sharp. Or 2, 3, 4, 3. Right? The 3 is the third of the chord. That F sharp is the third. That's in the chord. See, that creates tension if I play the G. It wants to resolve to the F sharp. And that's the kind of thing we want. Let it sit. Slide it down. That's a musical element too. Very unique to the guitar. Piano players can do it. Violinists. But it has a very unique sound on the guitar. Technically that's chromatic, but you don't notice because it's just slide down. You can slide up too. Now let's try bending that F sharp to the G. Takes a second. Okay. Last time. All right, let's just go 2, 3, 2, 3. Cool, right? That's kind of cool. E to F sharp. Make all but the last note short. Like staccato. That's called staccato. This legato would be like, would be long phrases with, hammer-ons or something. It's a great problem. text real quick. I'll leave the groove playing. Jam along. Okay. All right. So, I'm sorry about that annoying. Okay, let's do the tritone. I mean the guide tones. Okay, so the guide tones for the D7 chord here are here. Okay, so 7th fret and 8th fret. Now, positionally correct, that would be with the 3rd and 4th finger. That's fine, but I feel a little more meat on the string when I use these 2 fingers. You can slide into it. Okay, no worries, Dr. Rock. See you Wednesday. So those are the guide tones. And a reminder, the guide tones are the 3rd and the 7th of any 7th chord. And in this case, the D7 chord, the 3rd and the 7th are F sharp and C. Now, again, in this snippet, we don't have a D. There's our D there on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, or we can go up here, 10th fret of the 1st string. Here we go. If we want to resolve that. Okay, now let's talk about the chromatic thing we can do. We could do. It's kind of cool. We could do this, going from the 2nd to the 3rd. Cool, right? We could also go from the 5th, which is this A here, to the flat 7th, which is the C here. Is the 5th of the D chord. Don't worry. There won't be a quiz on this. I'm just saying this stuff out loud because eventually you'll start to understand it, start to hear it. All right? I always give the example of when I first started. Oh, we're dropping off. We were up there though. Gosh, we got up to, what is that peak? 58. Are you kidding? Now we're like crashing. People are tired of that D7 chord. I didn't realize the D7 chord was so offensive. But you remember, I would talk about when I was a kid, I think I was 14, 15 years old, I got a subscription to Guitar Player magazine. And I would read it cover to cover and understood maybe 10%. You know, they'd be talking about amps and guitars and distortions and theory and all this stuff, and I maybe understood 10%. I even read the ads, and, you know, it's like very, very little of the ad was, understandable by me. So but the next episode I'd understand. I mean, next episode, the next issue, the next month I would understand maybe 12%, and then the next issue I understood maybe 15%. I don't think I ever got to 100%. But because they're always talking about, if they're talking about ohmage, that's I've had ohmage explained to me, which is the guitar amp speaker connection thing. I know how to plug in the right ohmage to the right speaker. Don't worry, but but I've had it explained to me multiple times, and it's pretty much gone in one ear and out the other. If I was an amp builder, I would understand it, but that's not what I do. So. It's 10:27 in the morning here in Los Angeles, or 10:30 in the morning. So you are 10 hours ahead of me. And where did you say you were? I forgot where you said you were. Yeah, exactly, Holly. And it's kind of like when I say the third of a chord or the fifth of a chord, you may not understand that, but the more I say it, the more it starts to sound like a language you understand, and you will eventually start to figure it out. And I did videos on chord theory, chord harmony, and so yeah, Mr. Benny's 9 hours ahead of me, which is about right. Thinking about where Morocco is. It's pretty cool that I got so many people from all, so many places represented. I love that. And I'm sorry I only speak English poorly, but fortunately English is kind of is a common language a lot of people all over the world learn, and so it benefits me. So I appreciate that. Yeah, you can go back and watch. Hey, Carl, found you live. Wow, yeah. No, oh, no worries. And Carol, in South Africa. Oh, welcome. I don't know if we've had a South African. My best friend growing up, his mom was from South Africa. I always loved her accent. And let's see. You need more people. Take a pic with Bieber. I have lots of pictures with Bieber. I have lots of pictures with Bieber. I posted some in the Discord. If you go to the Discord, I think you can see some. I'm not sure where they are. Yeah, I was just. I mean, if you look at his Instagram, I'm in the picture that he just posted like a week ago, because we were working on some new stuff. So we had a meeting, and it was a great time. I got to work with some pretty big people, so it was pretty fun. Not done, so hopefully we're gonna do some more. Yeah, funny. It's like half of my viewers are non-U.S. viewers, which I love. Actually, that when I look at my analytics, I can pull it up right now. Not for this video necessarily, but I can look at my analytics in general. And if I click on audience, and then I click on 12.2% female, which is actually really good. It used to be like 7%. So I'm thrilled. When I get my hair cut, my female audience goes up. It's weird. 85% of my watch time is from non-subscribed viewers. Top geography. This is interesting. 44% United States. So it's actually below 50%. It's normally at right around 50%, so it's below. United Kingdom is second, of course, and Canada and Australia. Germany is fourth. I can see pretty much all of them. You say South Africa, you're down there, about 0.6 of my views are from South Africa. 0.6%. Looks like about, there's 5. South Africa is about 12th or so. But after Germany, it's India, Netherlands. That's all Dennis. Philippines, France, Ireland, Italy, Spain, South Africa, Sweden, Brazil. Where's Finland? We got Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia, New Zealand, Belgium, Norway, Russia, Japan, Denmark, Singapore, Switzerland, Mexico, Poland. I should hablo español un poquito. So I couldn't do a lesson in Spanish. If I were to teach lessons in Spanish, I would just really concentrate on learning how to say things that were. Because the great thing about this is I don't have to listen to anybody, so I don't have to understand anything. But it's crazy. Very small percentages down at the end here, but Yeah, so it's fascinating to me, and I'm and so all right. So let's see. Oh, I'm glad, Carol. You're representing. You're the one the South all of my South African stats are probably coming from you. I'm a little out of tune. I got the little baby tuner on here, there we go. Oh, it's weird. It's actually sitting on the string. That's weird. Okay. I haven't decided if I like this tuner that much. I only bought one of these. That tells you I probably don't like it. I mean, it's nice because it's very small, so you don't really see it there, you know. See? But it's kind of hard to get a good line of sight on it because right now, like, the strings are kind of blocking it. And I tried putting it on the back because I felt like there was, clearer line of sight on the back, but it was upside down. And then I couldn't tell, am I sharper or am I flat? It was like all my, it's like looking at this and pointing at oh, no, this, it's like being a weatherman. I don't know which way. I'm like, oh, wait, look at these scales here. Okay, I'm right there, So that's taken me a while. Okay. Do tune-ups get tips? Well, you should take a sip anyway because it's been a while since I've had a sippable offense. We do have a drinking game here. If I touch my face, which is a COVID no-no, then we take a sip. However, now I've only programmed myself to touch my face because I'm thirsty. So now every time I'm thirsty, I touch my face. I'm like, oh, I can take a sip. The other thing is if I change guitars, we take a sip. If I leave the room, that's a fill in the time sip. If I drop a pick, that's a sip. If I drop a thumb pick, that's 2 sips. If I say there won't be a quiz on this, that's a celebratory sip. If I use air quotes, that's a sip. That's a punitive sip. If I say I had a band in high school, that's definitely a punitive sip. If I mention the fact that I played all the guitars on Apex Legends, that's also a braggadocious sip. That's a punitive sip. So, question from Brian W. Brian W., are you new? Let me see you. Oh, there you are. Does Mr. Strahle have a video with tips or tricks for people with large, thick hands? Your hands make great clubs. Well, it's funny because I get grief for my small hands video. I haven't done one for large hands. I should probably try to figure out something. I've got long hands. One thing, and we'll just talk for now. I'm done listening to 7th chords. One thing is playing will make your hands, I think, not fatter. I've never noticed my hands getting any fatter. My left hand doesn't seem any fatter than my right hand. But they will make them a little longer. So you may gain a little bit by playing. Now, I know for a fact that you can get more finger spread from playing. If I put my index fingers together, okay, like this, and then spread my hands as far as I can get and you can do this. Look how much more reach I have with my left hand than my right. Look how much, I'm going as far as I can, and look at that. That's about an inch extra reach, okay, with my left hand. I can play more than an octave on the piano with my left hand, but not with my right hand. So that's one thing, but spread does help someone with fat fingers because it allows you to get your fingers further apart. But that's only the case if you're using chords that are more spread out. Okay, so there's certain chords like I imagine, and I'm changing guitars now. Certain chords like an A chord might be difficult with someone with fat fingers. Because these 3 fingers are thicker than these 3 fingers, I play A like this generally. I've seen people play A like this, kind of like a D7 chord, and then they put their first finger down here in the middle and behind. Flamenco players will actually play bar 2 notes and then use their second finger. So they're barring the D and the G string with their first finger, and then they're adding the C sharp with their second finger. Mainly because they want to get that B flat in there. Okay. One trick you can do. Let's see. What was your name again? Was it Brian? Brian W. Brian Wilson. Is nylon string guitars have wider necks. I have a guitar. If you go to my videos and you probably came here from watching, most people here that are on my channel on a regular basis came from one video, and that is the 7 tips for older beginners, because I've got 2.5 million views now. I passed 2.5 million views a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago. And the guitar I'm playing in that video is a Gibson folk singer. It's a 60s guitar. It looks funny because it originally had two sorry, my brain shut off. 2 pick guards, one above and one below the sound hole. But the bottom one fell off before. It's not. I don't have it. I got it. I actually bartered for that guitar. So I chimichanga ole. Oh, you play A with 2 fingers, yeah. That guitar has the same width as a nylon guitar, so you can get guitars and you can get electric guitars that have a wider neck too. So that can help. So the instrument can help you. You can also voice chords a different way. There may be things that you can do that other people can't do. There may be chords that you might be able to play that others can't play. If you're having trouble with bar chords, but you want to play in flat keys on acoustic, you can always learn about capos and use open chords. But I imagine if you have fat fingers, you're having a hard time not muting strings. And then the thing I got the most grief on my small hands thing is that here's the thing. I make the point, but it's like they don't want to hear the point. But I make the point that music is fun, right? It's fun to play music. Do you have to play guitar? No, you don't have to play guitar. You can still have fun. In fact, if you are frustrated playing guitar, it's not gonna be fun, right? If you can't get a G chord to ring out because your fingers, as you said, your fat fingers are deadening strings. Well, where's the fun in that? If everything's C chord is particularly difficult if your fingers are touching other strings. You just can't get a good sound out of it. But bass, you only have to play one note, and the strings are big and they're far apart, and you're like, you could be a monster bass player. There are guitar players. There's a great guitar. Johnny Highland, I think. He's got fat fingers, and he's a monster. He's one of the best guitar players in the world. But but the funny thing is, I get grief about when I mention ukulele. Like, if your hands are too small, you can always play mandolin, or you can play ukulele. And person goes to see how to play guitar with small hands, gets told not to play guitar. And I understand the meme out of all that. But that was like one point of like 8 or 10 points that I made about playing guitar with small hands. And the point was, basically, if you just love music and you want to be part of music, then pick a different instrument. Don't make it guitar. Maybe piano is easier for you, or maybe ukulele. Well, ukulele, bass is a good turn. If you like bluegrass music, take up mandolin, or even violin. If you've got small hands, violin's a lot easier with small hands than it. In fact, violin would be really hard for me. Mandolin's hard enough. To try to play the upper frets on mandolin is very difficult for me. So I could easily go to a mandolin video saying, "Hey, what if you have big hands?" And the mandolin player is going to say, "Yeah, don't play mandolin." So the thing is, you're like, "Yeah, but I really want to play guitar." I idolize guitar players. Yeah, but if you start playing bass and you start having fun and you actually get in a band, pretty soon, before you know it, you can start idolizing bass players. I always use the example of, I love what's the Dirty Jobs guy? The guy that did the Dirty Jobs videos. He did a video where he talked about don't do your passion, have a passion for what you do, because everybody can't do their passion. Everybody can't be a professional guitar player. That would be stupid. That would be stupid. Because there wouldn't be any jobs for anybody, and we'd all be starving and freezing. So we can't all be professional guitar players. It's just not going to happen. So, but that's my passion. I want to do my passion. I want to go to college and study it and get a bachelor's degree and, spend, $250,000 of my parents' money and then go get a master's. And then it's like, yeah, okay, but whatever you do, have a passion for it. And the example that I give is that if you've ever been to like back in the day, they used to have these giant magazine stores where you go and buy magazine. Those don't really exist anymore. But if you look, there's like 20 different guitar magazines, like Guitar World and Guitar Player and Guitar Aficionado and all these different guitar magazines. And then if you go in another section, you'll see like, 20 magazines for furniture builders. You'll see 20 magazines for plumbers. It's like plumbers are just as passionate about plumbing as guitar players are about guitar playing. And so you can get a passion for whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter if I managed a McDonald's for a living, I would probably be subscribing to 3 different magazines about management styles or some stupid thing like that. So that, it really, really doesn't matter. Yeah, you just love music in general. It's fun to play, and I've played bass in bands. I've played in a bluegrass band where I played dobro. And would I have been a better guitar player? Yeah. Would I have been a better mandolin player? Yeah. But they needed a dobro player, so I went, okay, I'll play dobro. Dobro is a great instrument you can play if you have fat hands or small hands because you're not fretting anything. You're playing slide. Or slide guitar too. There's a couple slide guitar players that have very big hands, and I think that's probably why they took up slide. And the great thing about slides is you can get the size of the slide that fits your hand best, and you could be the best slide player in the world. Let's see. I'm missing something here. Hold on a second. We still got 51 people. That's crazy. Let's see. Something we only different hands. 2 people. Yeah, and like I said, a nylon guitar is better for someone with big fingers or fat fingers because it's a little bit wider. It's not majorly wider. And then they do. Like I said, my Gibson folk singer. I can write the name folk singer. It's one word. They don't make them anymore, but they probably make guitars. And keep in mind, like folk singers back in the Justin Johnson. Okay, I'm not familiar with him. I need to look him up. Folk singers were back in the day. Folk singers were playing nylon guitars. And strumming nylon guitar. So basically what it looks like is a nylon guitar, but you put steel strings on it. So, and you could put steel strings on a nylon guitar. They're probably, the only issue you might have is too much tension on the bridge. If it's built for nylon, it might not have the bracing to accommodate strings. But you can, I'm sure on forums you can get that question answered. I have 2 nylon guitars and I have nylon strings on. I have a classical guitar and a flamenco guitar. This is my flamenco. This is a Ramirez. So, and the neck is a little bit wider, so if you've got fat fingers, it's a little bit easier to play. So I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people have that. A lot of people have that issue, and they may just give up guitar. But one thing you might do is just Google guitar players with fat fingers. Seriously, I did that when I did my small hands video, and I was shocked to learn that some of my favorite guitar players had small hands. Andy Summers, small hands. Andy Summers, Every Breath You Take is a hard song to play, and he did that with small hands. Herdy, who are we talking about? Warren Haynes, yeah, he's a guy. He's a great slide player, and he does have big hands. That's right. He's a good one. And so what you can do is you can Google guitar players with big hands or fat hands and fat fingers, and Google all those things, and you'll find people that have compiled a list of people that have big hands, and then watch YouTube videos for two reasons. One, for encouragement, and like, oh, okay, he's got giant hands. His hands are bigger than mine, and look at him. He can play like crazy. And then the other one is the other thing is that you can look at for technique. Like, oh, wait a minute. He doesn't play G chord like most people do. He plays it a weird way. Oh, well, that makes sense because there might be some people, their fingers are so fat that they can push down two strings with the tip of their finger. Andre the Giant, imagine him trying to play guitar. If you've got money, you could probably have, someone custom make a guitar for you. You could probably work with a luthier that can make a guitar for someone with bigger hands. That's going to have that even wider neck than a classical. And so I'm sure there's forums on this, and you can do some research. But yeah, I don't want you to be discouraged and necessarily give up guitar, but I also want you to have joy. And not having joy in something is a guaranteed way for you not to really excel at it. So that's, I think it's pretty clear that I have joy about guitar, and everybody here does. So that would be my suggestion. Okay. You have Villa. You have Villa or Villa Villa VA. You have 6 guitars on hand, and none of them is in standard tuning. That's funny. I know one guy who's. I've got a lot of Squier electrics, and many of them only have 2 or 3 strings on them. I like to mess around particularly for writing pop music. I like to mess around with having weird string setups so that I can come up with ideas I never would have in standard tuning, or that somebody else wouldn't have. That's my main thing, is I want to try to come up with something that nobody else would have done. Brian W. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, and enjoy what you can play. And playing with others is really where it gets to be fun. Or if you get someone who can sing and you can accompany them, then you can start, once things reopen in 100 years or whenever that is, you can start playing coffee shops and doing things, and whatever, or busking if you want. Let's see. Oh. Let's see. Yeah, Andre the Giant is no longer with us. All right, we got to be careful, everybody. Be kind. Let's see. So it's pretty much the time for me to take off. I've got some work to do today, and I will talk to you. Well, Wednesday. I said Wednesday. Maybe I'll do the 3 Mixolydian scale. So maybe I'll have those up there. We can do them. In G. We'll do them in G. So we have that. So you can keep playing along with that the G blues jam thing. Okay. Yeah, Holly, I bet you do. Yeah, it's a drag, and the virtual gig thing. I've done a couple of those, and they're lame. It's just not. This is not the same. We'll see. We'll say, hey, the market's crazy today because Pfizer has a vaccine with 90% success rate, with the 10% die. So the death rate for COVID now just went from less than 1% to 10% if you take the vaccine. So I hope so, Holly. Okay. So anyway, let's pick this up on Wednesday. I will try to be vigilant and do some new diagrams for us to do, and we will. I don't know. I'm trying to. My brain stopped because I'm trying to think. What am I going to call that C scale? I guess I could call it C major pentatonic, but it's not C major pentatonic. It's a weird. I'll have to figure out what they call it. So, okay, and I'll call it that. Okay. So listen, I'll talk to you all soon. God bless you. Thanks for all the big views. We got up to 58. That's pretty good. I think our peak in COVID time was like 62 or something. So I would love to have, I mean, it might get a little crazy in the live chat, but I would love to have 100 people at least every one of these lessons. I mean, I'm basically giving you a free lesson. If I were to charge you, I mean, the least I charge for guitar lessons right now is $100 an hour. So you're getting all of that for free. 2 hours you're getting 6 hours a week basically for free. So, I mean, any money you spend is appreciated, or any money you send is appreciated. The other thing is, if you do buy stuff through Amazon, I make 10, 20 bucks a month from that, and I do make money from the views on YouTube. I do make money, and it doesn't hurt to increase my subscriber base. When I get back to making regular videos. Once the COVID thing is over, I'll probably start planning out more regular videos. At this point, I'm kind of like, this takes up a lot of my YouTube. 6 hours a week is a lot of time to spend doing this. So anyway, God bless everybody. I hope you're safe. I'm not tasting this coffee, so I don't know why, but I have my suspicions. And I'm fine. I can take a deep breath. I don't have any other side effects, so who knows? But I'm gonna try. I got really spicy breath mints in my car. I'm gonna go try one of those in a minute here and see if that's if I can taste that. I'll be like, okay, fine. The other benefit of not having this sense of taste for a while is my grandmother lost a lot of weight. It was bad because she was a lifetime smoker and she lost her sense of taste and smell from smoking her whole life. And she started losing weight, and they couldn't get her to eat because nothing sounded good. And so I'm like, well, I could stand to lose a little weight. So, anyway, we'll talk later, and God bless you all. Stay safe and be kind to each other, especially on the. Do I still have that? I think that this Discord link is still good. Okay, so I will see you all later. Bye.